So, tell me about this piece. You were just telling me the story, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so this piece is special because like 2 years ago, I knew I wanted to start making art out of human black hair, solely just human black hair. But I didn't start collecting hair until maybe 6 months after this idea. And the very first hair I got was from this lady. And I didn't know her, but she saw my post. I would post on Instagram and Facebook.
Asking for hair?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that is so weird. What?
Because I knew like it would either come directly from people, salons, or barbershops. So this is one of the avenues I select.
Barbershops?
Yeah.
You mean you got hair off the floor?
Yeah, so I guess you could say in partnership with a few barbershops where one of them even let me keep my garbage can that I bought in their barbershop.
Right, to collect the trimmings.
Yes.
That's cool.
So this, Johada, she lives around the corner from
Thanks,
me.
Johanna.
And she gave me her hair. And I kind of sat with it for months. I didn't know what to do with it. And I think that also was because I didn't know her. So I started thinking, like, I just have to deal with her hair and, like, what this is locks and the colors. So I just started, and I also knew that I wanted to hand sew every piece I did. So the majority of my work is hand sewn. The idea that like the needle slows you down and takes you kind of into this like meditative state, and the idea of the needle like stabbing through the hair but bringing it together, I thought kind of represented like the struggle us as black people have been through, like the degradation of our hair and then being brought back together in this like kind of community, or the ways in general that black hair has created community, whether it be the barbershop or you look at like Madam C.J. Walker and the community she was able to bring through like empowering women, or just, you sitting in between your mom's legs getting your
Right,
hair braided
yes.
as a child like that.
It's communal.
Yeah. So I just started sewing her hair together. And it was funny, I was telling Gary earlier that I built this piece and I wasn't satisfied with it. And I was going to take it all apart, just cut all the thread. And actually Gary at my school, he works under the chair of the fine arts department at SBA. He was like, I selected this piece for a show. And I'm like, it's not done, like it's not a piece. And he was like, don't touch it. And I was like, it's not a piece. And he was like, don't touch it, it's beautiful. And it wound up being a lot of people's favorite piece.
Now I want to say two things about what you said, and then to share with other artists. I love this idea of that you had the hair and you like had this intuition, this impulse, but you just had to sit with the hair for whatever reasons. And even now you can't really explain it, but you couldn't just like do what you had to do with the hair. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important for artists because we're human beings and we don't have to follow corporate America where we follow our intuition and just do the art. Sometimes you can just do the art, but sometimes you have to sit with the art, and sometimes the art directs you. Yeah. So you always don't know exactly where you want to go.
Yeah, and like I'm not just dealing with like paint, like I'm dealing with people's DNA, like their spirit, their body. So I can't just impose my ideas on this. Like when I say I sit with the hair, what I mean is like I have to let the hair tell me what it wants to be, what it wants. Because there's, even when the first exchange, when I'm receiving the hair, I could feel the energy, And I did a lot of research about what our hair meant pre-colonialism, slavery, and a lot of African cultures believe their spirit was in their hair, and that's very powerful. Like your spirit is essentially who we are, right? So if I believe in that and I want to like think in that same way, then I'm dealing with people's spirit, their energy, their DNA, their history, this is who they are. So,
You have to honor that.
Yeah. And by honoring it, I have to listen. The hair tells me what it wants to do. And I thought it was interesting because sometimes when, like, I kind of want to do my own thing, it doesn't work. It doesn't work out, And
in a real sense, you sound like the ancestors are really directing you to almost what we said out in the street. I mean, you said this before in the other interview, but it's almost as if the ancestors are, through our art, bringing us back to those symbolisms and those icons that go way back to the first black woman. And although we don't understand all of it, but when you remind me about this whole idea of the spirit in the hair and that you have to really honor, it's not like taking a piece of paper and taking a crayon or a chalk and all those things are elements when we talk about it. Yeah. When we talk about the paper comes from, it's an element from the earth. When we talk about our chalk or we talk about our oils, but I think we take it for granted in our culture that we have these tools. But I guess that's why I'm throwing so back so much when I see this, and I can't get my head around that you taking folks' hair and making it into art. But it's all good. This is awesome. So my next question is, how do you see this affecting people, or do you see it affecting people? Or you just do the art? How's that work?
Well, the reason why I said, I'm done with traditional art materials, I want to start using paint was this yearning to feel or to represent my people in a very potent, direct way. I guess kind of in my last couple of years being in an academic setting, studying art as an undergrad at 3 universities. I went to Hagerstown Community College in Maryland. I went to NJIT for a year, and then I went to School of Visual Arts for 3. In all my art history classes, I could count on one hand, the amount of Black people that were either the artists or in the art. And that was really disheartening. So it was what material, and then also constantly learning about paint, and this artist painted a self-portrait of themselves painting because it talks back to this history. It was kind of I don't want to deal with this Western history, which when you put paint on a canvas, you're loaded in that Western history. So it was what material can I use that's loaded in Black history and African history and my culture? What material can talk about my history, my culture, my identity, and all that? And it became hair. I felt it was the appropriate material, and then also it being DNA. I could literally take a strand and trace back to your origin, So I kind of forgot the original question.
No, I mean, you lost me too. So I'm messing with you because you got me messed up, twisted with this. But it's powerful that you're following your heart, I'm getting ready to say intuition and ancestors. So when I'm gonna say ancestors, I think it's so powerful. What can you share with us to help improve
Oh, I remember what you
artists?
said. Do I feel like it's making an impact? Like, or
Yes. How do you see your art making an impact? I think you answered it. I know
well,
you answered it.
I think because, like, for instance, I had a show and there was a little kid that was like, "Mommy, look, this art piece is just like me," you know? And that's really simple.
Yours
And he
made
was
me
like
curious.
taking a picture and his hair kind of just blended in with my piece. But I think on a little scale, you know, people were seeing themselves, you know, like they could look at my work and literally see themselves, like this texture is just like mine, or, you know, or I see moms that could look at one of my pieces like, you got that from a barbershop, they just know right away. Or, so it's fulfilling this, I guess, need or something to,
What'd you say? Innate?
yeah, or need that, like they see themselves in work, in
Well,
the work. And
Well, it's saying what you said before, and that is that, and that's so powerful. You know, I'll be listening to this interview myself because I'll learn from it. You said, you know, when you said that a painter is painting within that stroke, within that identity, is there's all this historical stuff, and you flip that by using hair to create, which has a different historical precedence, and a whole different, because the background is totally different. When you look at it, you have to, everything is different, how you approach it, how you understand it. I mean, there's so much, I mean, that's real heavy to me. So, that was very fulfilling. Yeah, so I was asking you, what could you share with other artists in terms of how can we improve as artists? What should we be doing, in your opinion, based on being around artists?
I guess just sticking together. One powerful thing about going to art school is you're in this art community, and I saw the benefits of that, you know, whether it was Hey Noor, you know, who had a studio across from me, like I'm stuck, you know, and her being able to like give me advice, or whether it was let's apply for this art show, you know, together, let's work on our artist statement. Oh, I just met with this curator, I'll recommend them to you. So I think it's not about like how can I reach the top alone, but like kind of moving up together, you know, like you're
Definitely.
strong,
Yes.
we're stronger together. So even if you have your single practice alone, like being engaged in your community, going to art shows, meeting with other artists, using your power as artists, because we do have power, we do have a voice, you know, like we were saying, they're building Triangle Park in Newark.
We're just gonna blow everything up out there for the interview. I have everything in this interview. Go ahead.
Like, we need to be getting together and talking to these developers and stuff. Like, our art should be in Triangle Park, like rotating as like public art, you know, work in this park, like, you know.
So about the hotels you were just talking about? Oh, I said that.
Yeah, or,
What?
you know, they're building all these hotels, like they're knocking down Bears Stadium, and, you know, they're building all these things, like, our work, you need work for your lobby, you know, or, you know, us kind of, you were saying, there's so many artists in Newark and just in this area forming a committee, you know.
Forming another art organization. Anyway, now to tie into what we were just talking about, I want to ask you, how do you deal with this whole academia thing and what you know your kind of heart is telling you as you go forward? Because you know academia, well, let me not put words in your mouth, but my experience is that academia has this kind of these set parameters, while your spirit or your heart, where you come from in terms artistically, is more open. So how have you dealt with that, and do you intend on going further in academia?
Well, I guess I know eventually I'll go to grad school, but I'm not like filling out applications right now. Like, I'm literally just graduated, so more of my struggle, it wasn't necessarily academia that was a struggle, like being in the art school setting. I guess it was more of like who was in the academia setting. Like at my school, I was the only black student in my class. So it was more, the struggle became dealing with that, being the only black one and making art that is so black, you know? So that was the struggle, and I guess I fought that by saying, I'll be more black. You know, my work will be more black, and it will be huge, and it will be big, and it's going to be in your face, and it's going to be hanging from the ceiling, and it's going to...
It's going to be hair, more hair.
And it's going to be nappy,
awesome.
and it's going to be natural, and it's, you know...
That's awesome.
So I guess that's how I dealt with it. It wasn't necessarily the academia, it was...
That's a great caption.
The
environment you was placed in. Just the environment.
And like I was saying in our like last interview, it was a struggle between, because I did have a student who said to me, "Why is your work so black?"
I remember you said that in another.
And that was disheartening. Like it took me like a year to get over that.
Why is your work so black?
And I was, you know, the reaction.
'Cause I'm black.
And it's like, do we call Norman Rockwell's work American, or do we call it white? You know, like we call it American. He's the great American artist. But if I do something, it's
this one right here.
It's associated as black. So, like after that, I did have to make a decision. Like, do I go in this direction? Because this was pre this work. But I was having ideas of making work using black hair, so it was like, do I go with this idea, or do I shy away from it because I'm afraid to be kind of stereotyped?
Right, but that's the tension I was talking about between academia and following like who you are. That's what I was kind of saying. So you answered the question. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and also like I really like Mark Bradford's work because. And I get a lot of inspiration from him because one of the things that Mark Bradford does, he uses loaded materials. Like he uses these posters that are in his neighborhood on walls and on fences that have a lot, that reflect the times of, you know, South Central LA where he is, you know, like foreclosed house, I'll buy your car for this much. He takes these loaded materials and he kind of abstracts them, you know? And he says, like, through that abstraction, he's able to play. So I think also before this work with here, I was doing a lot of figurative, like, painting work. But I think it's interesting because I use the hair abstractly, which allows me in a way not to be so pigeonholed, you know, but then I'm also using the black body, so it's like I'm not painting the black body, but I'm using the black body, so I'm literally representing something because this is someone's physical body, their hair, but then I'm using it in this abstract form, which allows other people to put their interpretations and me not to be so pigeonholed into what I'm trying to say, you know?
All right. Now, what'd you say your name was?
Ade Bunmi.
No, your nickname.
Oh, well, I go by Ade. I go, for the majority of my life, I went by Bunmi. And kind of with...
I like the Bunmi. Bunmi. Where can they find you at? You just told me about your Instagram account?
Yeah, so Ade Booms is my Instagram name. ADEBOOMS, Ade Booms. And then my Facebook is just my full name, Ade Bunmi Gbadebo.
Thank you so much for coming through and continue to do your work.
Thank you.
That's powerful stuff. I hope you all enjoy this interview. It's a lot of stuff. Come back again. Peace, peace.